over there.
That's you over there.
We said 4:15.
You still sniffling? We did.
Will they be able to see you on TV? You sit there?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a broadcast?
I thought we were gonna be,
Public meeting.
Not the whole
we
thing.
have to be partly on TV.
Sorry.
And ask them to shut it off if that's what you want to do.
I mean, we're not starting it in public, so that's fine.
I don't know if you need them or not.
So we've come together to discuss the job description for the town manager. Did everyone get a chance to read the document? Did you share this document? Everyone?
Yeah, we got it
Yes.
last time.
Any thoughts on this as written?
Pretty thorough. Think
I
you've
like it.
left anything out?
There's a lot of like typos, or
Are there
yeah,
some like
well,
copy paste kind of issues?
like okay, so it's the ideal
Looking at
candidate.
the ad, or are you looking at the job description? The job description.
Okay.
Attached.
Oh, okay. So there were a couple of typos, or a few typos. All right. I mean, it's not necessarily picky because someone's going to be like reviewing this and thinking,
Yeah, we should fix every typo
Yeah.
you see.
yeah. So, like essential functions, the second bullet. I think we ought to at least decide on what we do with select board. And every time you type in select board in Word, it'll suggest select space board.
Mhm.
But there is generally accepted usage of select board, all one word. And Meredith uses select board, all one word. There was some attorney that was indicating that, this is online, that because selectmen is one word, select board should be one word. And I think it would just be clear.
Okay. You don't have to argue to
Yep.
convince me.
Oh, I
Agreed.
want to argue.
Let's argue about it.
All right. So, I mean, we're going against the
I'll go for
dictionary.
it.
It says 2 words. Kind of making up a word.
Meredith uses select board, all one word.
Yeah.
Well,
We've been using select board, all one word.
Still not
You
a
have a
word.
problem with that?
Still not a word. I'm happy it's not select men, so I'm I'll leave it alone. You were looking for an argument.
Maybe we should go to select people.
well,
I'll change it.
No.
That doesn't really roll off one. If we could only change BOS.
I'm sorry.
All right, so that's bullet 2. Bullet 3. So since its essential functions is plural, like serves as, organizes, continues or discontinues, then all the bullets should like maintain, like supervises, manages, and evaluates, establishes,
okay.
maintains. So I kind of like looked at all of those bullets and like ability to engage. It should be like
Should be
engages.
engages and participates.
That's correct.
Do you have these changes in?
Can you put
I
them
don't have a,
in Word and send it back to me?
let me just, who's gonna edit?
You have ability to edit, that's in Word.
Do I have the Word document?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Did you send a Word document or a PDF?
Word.
Okay.
All right,
I mean, I don't mind making all the edits either if we
Yeah,
want
it's
it. If
not-
I'll just note them all on this doc and then make an edited version.
It might be easier for me to do it. You want me to track
Depends on if we
changes?
have more.
Yeah, we got quite a few more.
No, I meant if we had more from other people, not just from
Oh,
you. That's
true.
what,
Yep.
my only.
You have this word college here.
Yeah, I know, college should be university.
You gonna take that out?
Yeah, there are two sites for college, and they should be
Yep.
both university. So I did modify all those identifies, purchases, all town materials, so.
Yep.
All right, so do you want me to track changes, or just go ahead and make the modifications?
I say you go ahead.
Okay,
So you go ahead.
That's fine.
all right.
I mean, if anything is a problem and Ian sends the version out to us, we can all say something.
Good, okay. Well, in that case. Well,
Should just bring my laptop.
on that,
I thought about it, but I didn't.
I was brave. All right,
So that's the job description, and how about the ad? Do you have changes to that as well?
yeah. The ideal candidate, that's the reference to the bullets. The ideal candidate will be an effective leader. And I think effective, I was gonna say, will be an effective leader, comma, comfortably empowering staff to creative problem solvers. And third bullet, will supervise.
So you're not gonna change that to effectively lead, that first bullet?
Change it to what?
Effectively lead? I guess the rest of the sentence falls
Would be an
off.
Okay, that'll be
effective
fine.
leader, comfortable,
Right,
empowering, comfortable with empowering staff.
Or comfortably empowering staff.
I don't think comfortably fits there.
Okay, so what are you saying, Ted?
He's got, whoever, he or she has to be comfortable empowering the staff.
Crap.
So the comfortable modifies the staff, comfortably modifies the person. In other words, I'm comfortable doing my job versus I'm comfortable empowering other people to do the job.
Okay.
So we'll have Bill go through if we can and just make some edits across. And was there anything that you would add to the job description or the ad itself that we may have missed? Anything you'd take out?
No, just different format on the second page too. Board remains vested in responsibility, and then put a header on the minimum qualifications. Bachelor's degree. And select board, that's it.
So the salary range up to 113, the board's comfortable with that?
That was
up to
consistent.
or begins up?
Begins at, I'm sorry.
I think that was consistent with what our salary analysis said.
And the next two sentences down, it says on or before September 9th to get priority. Do you want to change that date since we're not getting this out for another, at least another week?
How long do we want to give people to respond to, for there to be a priority?
Initially, you were giving them 5 to 6 weeks from the initial response.
So what I would say is, however much we are delayed in our, adjust the priority date
So I'll just come up with a date.
commensurately, yeah. So if we don't get it advertised until August 15th, oh, it's already past that.
Yeah.
We'll say the August 21st, then we move the date out.
All right, I just,
Feels like 4 weeks seems good.
Yeah,
4 weeks,
I
okay.
think 4 weeks.
Is that the only way we're doing it, is paper advertisement, online advertisement, any other?
We have the ability to use Indeed.
Okay, great.
We have the ability to use, of course, the local newspapers. We have NHMA's website. I think there's a managers, a state New Hampshire Municipal Managers Association that I can
Right.
send this off to and get that to them.
That,
We have NHGFOA I could send it to.
that manual that Bill gave us through Scott,
Yep.
listed diversity of candidates. And they kind of listed a few that you could, black leadership, women's leadership. I don't know if there's cost involved.
There probably will be some, but I can
Okay.
let you know.
Okay.
You know,
I think
get
just
prices.
once again to look at as many diverse
Okay.
candidates.
Right.
So the procedure for handling resumes as they come in, you put on here that it would go, it'd remain sealed. You're gonna go to Zach's mailbox, and he'll open them up. They will be stamped, Zach, with the date that they arrive. Unless, of course, you want them opened, we can open them here, okay?
I think that's fine.
And then after that date of whatever we pick there, that next meeting, the board will get copies of them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? I'm asking. how
Yes,
you wanna do
yes, I
this.
think so. Stepping back, 'cause I don't know necessarily what was discussed last week, but are we forming a search committee for this?
We did
So-
discuss-
We should.
Yeah, well, there's, two, I guess, ways to maybe do that. One is to have the board review the applicants, maybe prioritize them, and then maybe pick the top 5 or 4 or something like that, and then open it up to, a committee to include. I mean, this is kind of like maybe absurd, but
Well, that's part of the first question is, does the board want to review all of the applications, or do they want to defer that to a search committee that narrows it to 3 or something?
I know this may not be right, but PSU did it, like, the trustees review the positions when they put Burks in. And then after their selection of the top 3, then they open it up to, townies, and
The trustees didn't use a search committee when they did that process?
they probably did, but,
No, I'm sure they would have.
yeah.
This is, well, we're not, it's not quite, we're not hiring a president. We're hiring roughly the equivalent, because there's a board here, what would be a vice president on campus.
Well, it would still be like a president on campus, because they speak to the trustees in the same way that the town manager would speak to
Mhm.
us.
Yeah, Vice President would be Marlon.
It's
Celeste.
effectively, it's the chief executive officer
Right.
of the town.
Right.
I don't think I've ever been involved in the hiring of a president, but I've been involved in hiring a vice president.
Yeah, I've been involved in VPs as well on campus,
So I can speak more to that process.
which always starts with the search committee.
Yep.
And then brings in those other groups. The thing that I would hate to waste this board's time on is reviewing all of the clearly non-qualified candidates, because we're gonna get tons of resumes that a committee could, using a rubric, narrow down a lot.
Mhm.
And we're a busy group. That being said, if we wanna take that on, we can.
Well, what would maybe back it up the other way, what would the search committee look like? We talking 5, we talking 10? Someone's gonna have to spend time in it.
You don't want 10. I would, if I was gonna put together a search committee, I would probably do, 2 members of the board, 1 employee from the town,
Maybe a couple community
and
members.
probably 2 community members. Maybe a business owner and then a sort of general community member.
Okay,
I think that's how I would
Yeah,
try to formulate
Right.
something like that.
right.
And maybe you could push that as far as 6 or 7, but 5's a tight group that would work efficiently.
Gotcha. I think I would prefer the board look at it first, only because I think we know what we're looking for and have more experience working with the town than the search committee, who more general,
Yeah.
my thoughts. Someone's gonna have to do the work.
Yeah, I mean, if the board wants to do it, everyone on the board has to commit to filling out a rubric, evaluating every single resume, following a consistent, defensible practice
Right.
on how we
I just
evaluate
think
it
we'll
all.
turn it over faster as well than a
Well,
committee.
We'd have to define that rubric. And we could have somebody come up with that one that you could discern from just looking at resumes.
Right.
Mhm.
Which I could do. Come up with a rubric that is,
Yeah.
I've done it many times.
I think either way, unless other people have objections, I would love for you to put that rubric together.
Okay, I'll put together a rubric.
Yeah.
I like that.
My experience with you on many searches in the past has been quite positive on that front, so.
All right, so,
So we're talking board doing the all the resume screening. Are we then gonna do like phone interviews as a first round?
I would, I would say let's wait to see what we get.
Okay.
Because in this market,
We might not get very many.
we might not get very many, and it may not be an issue where we need to do a phone interview. Case in point where a phone interview is very helpful is if you've got, let's say you've got 4 candidates and 2 live a long ways away, and you don't know if you wanna commit to flying someone here.
Right.
So what you do is you say, okay, we'll have a run of phone interviews for all of them to kind of weed out
Yeah.
those that don't float to the top.
Right.
And then after you've got that, then bring them to the location. Cause you know, you could wind up with 10 candidates, or you could wind up with 2, you don't know.
Right.
But I don't think that's necessarily something we have to decide up front whether we want a phone interview or not. We know we're gonna interview some people.
But we could say, so select board is first step, we're gonna review all resumes. Then the second, we're potentially gonna phone screen if necessary.
Yeah.
Right? And then the goal being to narrow to 2 to 3 candidates, 3 being an ideal, 2 being a potential necessity.
Yep.
And then we want to run those candidates through probably more of a in-person process than simply meeting with us.
Oh, absolutely. I would envision that the finalists would have an opportunity to field questions from all of the department managers, at the very least, within the town.
I personally think that we should have at least a sort of meet and greet session for anybody who
Yep.
works for the town that's interested.
Something maybe at a time of day where it's not going to impact town operations.
I don't know if there's a time of day that doesn't, I mean, we're
Well, you know what I'm saying.
24/7 operation around
Yeah,
here.
but you know what I'm saying. There's some times of the day that might be more difficult, like to have the entire fire department here,
Yeah.
plus the entire highway department, plus the entire police department.
Yeah, no, it's true. Though at the same time, we can record that session and
Yeah, we
you
can.
know, we can do that. But I think meeting with the managers makes sense. I think having some sort of session with the full, quote unquote, full staff, an open session for any town employees. And then some sort of, maybe a presentation and questions to the town.
I think we should.
there are several groups that it would be kind of nice to make sure they have a presence. Yes, a few members of the town, but we also have the commissions and the committees. It'd be kind of nice to have, you know, the chairs of the commissions being able to at least ask some questions of perspective.
Do you think they would need a private, their own dedicated session for that, or do you think that could be included in a?
I don't know,
Town
you know,
session.
it'd be kind of like a mess if like all the people that I'm thinking of were to be sitting down at one session. So maybe they can be partnered with the town administrators,
The department
the
managers?
department heads, yeah.
So we're talking at least 4 different, geez.
Well,
2, 3,
then
we're
there's-
talking, that's 5.
water and sewer. And
You wouldn't consider them part of the
let's not,
commission heads?
let's not consider them part of the department heads.
Oh, no, I meant part of the like committee, because I don't think you can put the chair of the planning board in the same conversation as the fire chief and police chief.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
think that's awkward.
Yep.
Whereas I think maybe water and sewer does fit in that conversation, they
They're
have
more like a
similar
department.
relationship.
And plus Don is pretty adept at reviewing applicants for higher positions, considering that's what he did or does in MRI.
At the same time, we should think about reaching out to PSU and giving them the opportunity to send somebody to one of the sessions, or maybe a few somebodies.
Not Marlon. I want Don,
Did you say no, Marlon?
not Marlon. Let's get Don here. Or even Tracy for that matter. I mean, at least you'll ask pertinent questions. And there's also the hospital, PES, SAU,
Mhm.
town VIPs, Steve Rand, who will desperately want to be on the review committee.
I don't think we need a special VIP session. I think that feels dangerous to me, but I think certainly those people should be made aware that there's gonna be an open town presentation, and they should come with their questions, and they'll be given time to express them.
Okay, yep, that'd be fine, because I was thinking of like Sir Michael McGinley, Alex, Rand, they all have someone they want to promote too. for that
Yeah,
matter.
and for those sessions, we'll have a little, a short comment
Feedback.
feedback card, and anybody who has that can submit it kind of in an
Sounds
official
good.
capacity.
Yep.
And we'll, again, if we're acting as the search committee, then we'll have to review all of that material.
Okay, yep,
Quick follow-on to your comment about a presentation. Yes, I think they should come with a presentation. I think we should tell them what their presentation needs to be about.
Yeah.
And it should be about how they might handle a current issue that we're dealing with in town. Kind of use it as an opportunity for them to get kind of real-world experience in what we're looking for, but also the opportunity for us to get free consultation.
What kind of question do you think would be?
I don't know, it's like, we can, this is for when we pick who's gonna come
Yeah.
to present. Give them an assignment to, okay, this is a current challenge with property tax, nonprofits.
University.
Well, it's a
Nonprofit
nonprofit,
is-
it's a nonprofit,
True,
but,
true. I
you
just
know,
meant we're, as
how
a
do you-
university town, it does make us a little different.
how do you see us developing sources of revenue to offset the tax rate? I'm just coming up with something off the cuff, but it should be something challenging like that, something that gives them a chance to do a little bit of research and give us some options to think about. How are they going to do this when we ask them for the same type of thing in their new role when we hire them? Let's get a flavor for that. Record it, people can watch it. Make it like something that's a current key issue that we know we have to grapple with.
Okay.
So speaking of that, there may be like a couple of applicants that don't want to have publicity.
Yeah,
And,
well, once you've applied for the position, it's a public process.
Okay, as long as they are explaining that up front, 'cause,
Yeah, I think, again, maybe that's part of the phone screen process.
yeah,
That maybe that's a full interview, maybe that's just a conversation with them that says, hey, we wanna bring you to town, we're gonna run you through this, it's gonna be public.
right,
This is your chance to bail out of the process if you're not interested,
right,
but
So their
it's gotta be a
fear would
public
they
process.
would lose a job that they have or
Yeah,
yeah.
Right,
they have to it has to be something understood, because we can't make this a private process, and
right.
surprise, we've hired somebody and no one knows anything about them.
That's
paramount.
not gonna be healthy.
Right, definitely not. Transparency.
So say we have like a few in-house applicants. Now, like with the state, they want to generally, review the in-house first before they go out of house. We're not gonna be doing that. We're just gonna like advertise it and whoever. So would there be a preference for in-house applicants, or just gonna put them in the mix?
Well, I'll ask you a dumb question. Are we sure the in-house applicants are the best person for the job?
I'm not sure.
Maybe they are,
Maybe they are.
maybe they're not. But the only way you really find that out is having something to compare and contrast against. The in-house applicant would certainly have an advantage already over anybody that's coming in from the outside, because they know.
That's the state metric. They theoretically hire from in-house candidates, and if none of them fit the bill, then they go out of house. Generally, we go out of house.
Yeah, I think we start with just an open process. And if we've got an internal candidate, they go through that same open process. And out of the other side, if they're selected, they'll be they'll enter the position with real authority, as opposed to entering it in some hand-picked, smoky back room situation.
Yeah.
Even if it's not handpicked in smoky back room, there'll be people who will say it was.
Public process. I think we
Oh, definitely.
lean into that over and over in what we're doing here. And if anybody questions, well, why are you going through all of this, or why, I think that's the reason.
Right.
I think that's been our objective all along.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
We kind of backfired last time, but I shouldn't have raised that, but anyway. Yeah, this one will be clean it up front in public.
Which one backfired?
Never mind. I'd be vindictive. Or,
Well, there are pros and cons to having somebody who's familiar with the organization and then.
Neil, Colleen needs to hear you. Colleen needs to hear you.
hear
She's-
me?
No, Neil,
Yeah.
sorry.
You
You need to
hear
speak
In other
up.
words,
Oh,
speak
you
into
need
the
to
microphone.
Speak into the,
Mike,
Okay,
just so she can hear you, I'm sorry.
okay.
Thank you, Ann, keeping me out of trouble. She gives me trouble about it every time. Well deservedly.
We should just have Zoom transcribe it. She
Right.
can just clean it up.
All right, so Bill will make the necessary changes.
It's
and
the ad
Send it over
and description.
to us, and then, once we get that back and everybody's looked at it, do you want to bring this up at the next meeting, or do you just, by the end of this week, will you guys be able to look
Are
at
there
that?
any substantive changes?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
if
what I
everything
was-
we were talking about so far is grammatical,
Yeah.
and I have no objection to grammatical cleanups. Is there anything substantive in your changes?
Not-
Does
not-
anyone have anything that would add or remove duties or change the position description in any way?
So why don't we do this? Bill edit,
Mhm.
gives it to Ann.
Yep.
Ann sends it to us as a group.
I'm just making sure that nobody else has anything else
Yeah, I
to
don't have
add
any.
before we're all good.
my only question was, and I think I know the answer, but not gonna be under contract, right? This is
No.
at will. Do we need to state that at all? I don't know what the norm is. Is a contract
Oh, yeah.
norm either way? Does it matter?
That's or something that you could tell them.
Well,
This
it's,
is something that you have to advertise.
Okay.
You can,
somebody might want it,
and they'll ask.
require it.
Yep.
And we could take up the issue then, but
So then I think if we're just making grammatical changes, Bill, you can send those to Ann, and you can,
send it to all of us,
Send
and if
it
we
to
have
all
a
of us.
problem,
Respond to me.
Respond to
and
and
each
if
other.
there's if anybody has any objections, then we'll have to delay it to the next meeting.
Okay.
If those edits look good, and there's no objections, then we can move forward with the ad
So by
post haste.
tomorrow afternoon, maybe?
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I just want to make sure we didn't have any other changes before we went that route.
So does that mean we'll release it? What date what we put on it?
Whatever, and
9/15?
Just come up with it, yeah, you can come up with a date if you want.
basically, as soon as
Yeah.
Ann's got the all clear, I'd say we go.
And,
It's
you know,
not
add 4 weeks to whenever it's going to get initially posted.
Okay. It's not contradictory to say that preference will be made for some, okay, the position will remain open until
That's
filled.
what I've
Yeah.
got it,
Mm.
yeah.
But priority consideration will be given to applicants who submit a cover letter before September, whatever. So, all right, so they can still submit afterwards, they just won't get the priority consideration.
The priority consideration is really just a little ploy to
Get the
encourage
applicants.
people to get their thing in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the perfect candidate shows up the day after, we're probably not gonna be such sticklers to that deadline.
Right.
So someone will be thinking about when it is that you'd want them to start the job, if you find the ideal candidate, hopefully by the end of October, right?
Yeah, so if we find a candidate by the end of October,
Is that is that enough time, do you think, to maybe a target to shoot for by the end of October? Or are you waiting to fill the position at the end of December?
I think it'll depend on the number of candidates we get.
Okay.
See how long
Yeah,
it takes
there's
us
some
to-
parts of it that we don't have control over.
Right.
right, but assuming we have a great pool of candidates and we can hire somebody out of that pool and we can run them through a public process, I think end of October is achievable.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Um,
I'm just trying
which
to
would then give us a start date that's gonna be,
Depending on what position they're in right now, they might want to give 4
you
weeks.
could easily wanna give 4 weeks, so
Yeah.
we're talking
I always
December.
assume 30 days notice
Okay.
is,
All right, so beginning of December would
Some-
potentially be it.
Roughly a December start date.
I have a question.
You don't think that that's pretty aggressive?
I think
Given
that-
we're gonna,
I think that is
we have to
aggressive.
be aggressive.
I think that is aggressive. That's an
But even
optimistic
doable.
timeline. I think it's an optimistic timeline.
doable.
I think it's doable.
Doable if we
It's
have.
doable
it.
because I think if if we get this ad out, let's say Wednesday,
Right.
that's gonna be the 17th. We'll start reviewing candidates on September 17th,
Right.
right? We'll try to get through all of the initial review, narrowing, et cetera, by the end of September. That gives us like 2 weeks,
Okay.
right? And then we've got the month of October to schedule someone to come in, 3 candidates to come in, to come here, to do their little dog and pony, to meet with everybody, and for us to make a decision by the end of the month. That's optimistic, but not unreasonable.
Okay.
And it may even go
If
faster.
the pool sucks, then all bets are
No, I'm
off.
thinking of all the different people we want them to meet.
I think the way we set that up is we say, Sally Jones, you're gonna be here on October 15th, and we've got a slate of people for you to meet and things for you to go through that start at 1 PM, and it's gonna take us through 6 PM. We'll book all that stuff. It's a very busy afternoon for that person.
Okay.
And then we book, 3 of those half-day kind of marathon half-day events with candidates.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
we typically would do on campus.
Yeah, we
We'd
might
bring
even
someone to
have them-
campus, we would
Okay. Keep
schedule
them
that
enrolled.
day, keep them for a period, and then,
I guess I was looking for a day of committee, kind of a 2-hour time frame or an hour with each committee, but not consecutive, sort of
yeah.
next
So,
day.
yeah, that,
read it
if we
time.
end up with anybody who's remote, that ends up not working, so you gotta put them through like an agenda of,
Right.
We could even set up the days that we want ahead of time and say, the first candidate that we call is like, okay, which one do you want?
So the reason that I asked that question is, the current manager is leaving at the end of December. So I just want to hope that the board
Mhm.
pushes to have someone in that position so that we kind of
an
know.
ideal timeline would give us a month of overlap between the new and the
Thank
two.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Isn't she officially leaving January 14th?
Or 18th or something?
I think her,
That's the end of the contract, but I don't know if
thought
that's
it
the
was the
end.
end of December that she was leaving, as I understood
But
it.
she has vacation time maybe that she might leave early?
It's getting paid off.
I don't have all the answers, Neil.
I would bet that she would go with as much of a payout as
Yeah, I
possible.
think I'd stick with the payout.
So she stick it out.
I would.
I thought it was the
Yeah,
middle
all I
of
have to do is come to
January.
work.
Well, we gotta get that,
So that's why I was asking, just to make sure that,
we gotta know for sure.
I'll take that as a to-do to get a official end date.
okay. I think that what she read to the board, I thought at the last meeting said the end of December, but,
I don't have that in front of me, so.
okay. So I'll have to check that, or Zach will check. Okay. So I think we're,
What's that leave us with? Anything else?
So defining the search committee, we'll do at a later date.
Sounds like we're not gonna use a search committee.
Not a search, so we're not gonna have another group of, business leaders, community members, we're not gonna do something like that.
No, it sounds like
We're
the
gonna do
select
it
board is
more
gonna
open
act as,
forum.
select board's gonna act as the search committee, and then when we narrow to 2 to 3 candidates, we're gonna have various sessions, and those sessions will allow for the
Include
community
those,
input.
gotcha, okay.
So rather than choosing one business member to be
Right, right.
representative, then
You know,
we'll,
have all,
yeah, we'll
Choose
give
all.
them the space to come.
Did you have a question?
I'm planning to take some time off around the middle of September for about 2 weeks.
Doesn't sound like that'll be a problem.
That should be okay.
We'll just let you know, when you say time off, you mean away from town?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of state.
Be out of state, okay. Do you, we'll work on those dates, Neil, just
Yeah.
so you can let us know ahead of time, and then the
Will.
board can go from, yeah.
At the very earliest, if the ad went out today, priority consideration wouldn't be until September 15th.
Yeah.
So it's not like we'd be interviewing people mid-September. It would be,
Yeah,
Unless we have to phone screen, and then it'll be late September.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to be back by the 28th.
All right.
the feeling is you'll probably be okay.
So Zach, I do have one item for non-public unless there's.
Anything else on the town manager search process? Feeling good? All right, then let's,
I'll make a motion to enter non-public according to RSA
just
90.
in time, Frank's walking in as you're taking us to
I
non-public.
know, he's leaving.
Yeah.
Before we go to non-public, any questions from the audience?
Well, it's a nice meeting, thank you.
Nice day.
Please.
yes, please.
Thanks, Frank.
So it is a non-public for personnel.
Motion, personnel?
Personnel.
91A, colon,
Yeah, I don't remember the
Want me to move to,
yeah, A personnel.
a personnel.
Sounds good.
I second.
Bill, your vote?
Yes.
Ted?
Aye.
Me, aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it in non-public.
Or if
Need to just make sure we're not broadcasting before we continue.